answer for Sig.TR and they end up going for an Invoker to round out the lineup. So,
thoughts about the Invoker? How do they want to set up these lanes?
So it's roaming Bounty Hunter, probably...
I guess off-lane Bristle.
No, I think so. Bristle's probably their one.
Mid-Invoker.
Support Lina, and offlane Earthshaker.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
All right.
I'm doing this off the top of my head, and I have the draft screen in front of me.
That's true. You have the power. I don't have the same screen that you do there.
All right. Okay, so... Yeah, Lakelz is picking up the Bristleback, and Boombell's on the Lina. So yeah, looks like it is going to be that kind of a laning setup. I guess probably just a Quaswex Invoker this game. They're just looking to have more ways to stall things out so that the Bristleback can get totally huge. And
definitely,
this is a game that the Bristleback can take over completely, and just if he gets enough farm, especially as we've been talking about, there's a huge difference between a 1-position Bristleback and a 3-position Bristleback in terms of how much impact they can have,
no doubt,
in the game. And this is definitely the kind of game where a player like Lakelz can totally take over. So we'll see if he's able to get it done here.
Yeah. Now, we haven't... I like what Rave did in Game 1 with changing their draft up from what we saw in the first series, showing us that they have some versatility, and I think they're doing that exactly again here in Game number 2 of this heat. We haven't really seen much Chen action, and showing that, hey, we know how to push too. We're going to bring the fight to them this go-around, and I have some pretty high hopes for Rave going in here. Ryo will TP up top, does have an Observer Ward to plant down, and... does he block a camp? Yes, he will.
So, Sig.TR not really doing anything as a group to begin here. You know, I think a lot of teams will tend to try and invade the Chen's jungle right away, but I guess because they have the Bounty Hunter, they feel that Jap can just kind of go and do that by himself, and they don't need to send everyone over there. The level 1 is decent, but the Invoker does weaken things quite a bit, being the final pick here, so... looks like they don't want to go fighting into the Rubik Lesh and the Jug, especially. Chen on the other side is also another hero that's almost totally useless at level 1, just auto attacks. But
whoa, we burn a dust already, just barely misses the Bounty Hunter. But Rave are prepared for this. They have dust and plenty of sentries. Bounty Hunter also starting off with some sentries of his own so that he can block camps and then also possibly try and clear out sentries that'll make his life a little more difficult.
Yeah, the one danger, I think, is that if the Rave do have an alternative play for the Chen, even if his jungle gets completely blocked out, which is just to roam with the Rubik and put pressure on the other lanes, especially when you've got a hero like Invoker mid, who is just renowned for how easy he is to gank. He's slow. Yes, it is probably going to be Quaswex this game, so you do have Tornado as a little bit of a way to open up some space and prevent being lifted. But that's definitely a kind of play that Cass could look towards if he feels like he's getting pressured way too much by this Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, and I wouldn't count on that Ghost Walk to do a hell of a lot in terms of escaping, given that they'll already have plenty of detection to try and deal with the Bounty Hunter. So should be a pretty much non-factor here, I think, from the perspective of Rave. Cass, though, gets a hard camp to get things started. We'll take a big old Wild Wing as Jap comes over to leech some XP. And he will have the Rubik just kind of buddied with him in the jungle right now. So that leaves Juggernaut in the safe lane to kind of solo up against the Earthshaker here. Should be no problem for Jug to find some farm. And staying nice and aggressive on the creep wave to try and push back the Tarn anytime he presses forward.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter really needs to decide where to put down this Observer Ward, I think. It's extremely important information for the Earthshaker. If the Bounty or the Observer Ward has eyes on both the Rubik and the Chen, then he gets to play up a little bit more on bottom lane and gets to grab a bit more CS.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Okay, pretty standard placement here. It's going to block out the big camp just on the very edge and give some good vision of rotations coming over.
Yeah, exactly. Finding the best of both worlds, maximizing vision kind of towards that bottom lane and moving about. Yeah, Bounty Hunter getting a lot of love this patch. Old Gondar.
Yeah, people are discovering this support role for him. Back in sort of Dota 1 days, it was always off-lane Bounty Hunter, but no longer the case. And I mean, teams, even if they haven't been getting, I've talked about this a little bit, even if they haven't been getting the really cheesy stuff done with bottle snipes and whatnot, they're still getting a lot of value out of the hero.
Trying to set up on the MyPro,
goes south.
A little too speedy with those boots. Can they cut him off and punish this, though? Chen on the opposite side of the jungle. I think MyPro's good here. Yep, he'll just walk away.
Yeah, JL I think could have just clicked him there. The big surprise was that he just chose to run south instead. And yeah, as Jug, I think it's normally the better play just to use the follow click and prevents jukes unless they go into the fog. But the Shaker manages to survive, so a nice little bit of play from him there.
Oh, the Ogre reveals the sentry ward. Damn bruiser.
Can't play dumb. But a couple auto attacks coming in. Japs can try and steal some CS. This is his job this game, honestly. Just to
your job is just to keep the Chen down. You are the sacrificial lamb. You don't farm, but you also stop the Chen from farming. So as long as he doesn't die, this is just fine. But if they manage to pick him off, that's when things get a little bit tough. They will have a dust to burn here, but not the best creep in terms of killing. It will bring the tornado, telekinesis him back. Pretty good damage. There's the charge from the Spirit Breaker, and this is what we talked about in the draft. Looks like Jap will be the victim of the first blood. Just having the reveal from the Spirit Breaker makes that a lot easier. It will be Chrissy that finishes him off on the Leshrac.
And MyPro just getting 2 points up in the totem, actually taking full advantage of the 1v1 lane down bottom to put a little bit of pressure on the Juggernaut. We've got absolute free farm on top lane from Likelzy. You got 22 CS and 15 denies, so looks like doing a great job of keeping his lane in position. The Lina by herself is seemingly more than enough to keep this Spirit Breaker out of the lane. And yeah, Rayo's only managed to, it's just about to reach level 2, but looks like Boombell has been doing a pretty good job of keeping him out here. They did intentionally block out the side camp here. The Dire with this, I think with this Observer Ward. It's also blocked by the Radiant a little bit further over, but no pull through for anyone, and that just means that the Spirit Breaker and the Lina are just trading blows non-stop here pretty much.
Yeah, the Spirit Breaker is getting zoned out pretty hard, still only level 1, but that vision he provided has already given him some additional value. Bounty Hunter just heading down to the bottom lane to leech some XP and try and set something up onto Jail. They might actually have the damage to do this. Fissure sets things up, and now he's on the run.
Boots cooling down. No, he's alright.
Yeah, still only level 1. No Shuriken toss. Juggle live. So Cast at least gets level 2 now. We'll have some boots coming, continuing to harass with that Wild Wing Ripper Tornado. Things looking okay for Rave out of the gate here. The only one farming really well is that Bristleback to the Dire side. Ninja Boogie, he may go down. Jap will set it up with the Orb of Venom. No way the Rubik gets away from that one.
Yeah, this Bounty Hunter pick is working wonders. It's put pressure and it sent the Juggernaut back to base once. It's killed the Rubik. It sort of prevented the Chen from getting as much value as he can. He's still been a nuisance. He sent, I think, 2 tornadoes towards mid lane thus far, so Cass still finding opportunities, but has not really secured all that much farm for himself. 2.5 levels, 5 minutes in for the Chen is definitely behind your overall pace. And looks like we might have a jump here on the mid lane. Tornado not going to land, but they've got the Cold Snap and the right clicks. EMP coming in.
Will lose all of his mana. He does have a regen rune in the bottle, so not as crippling as it would be otherwise. Yep, he'll just eat it and regen right back up. So double effort, but not quite there. Throws out the Split Earth, and we'll keep the regen on to try and maximize all that range creep, that little bugger. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we'll see a fight break out on the Boombell, and MB will try to TP home. It's going to be a close call, but Bristle doesn't quite have the damage. Fissure has a little gap in it, and the Spirit Breaker will walk away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane here, Leshrac taking some big damage. The body blocks will make sure he gets hit by the EMP, and the Cold Snap secures the kill. It's Signature.Trust starting to get some momentum here. Charge from the Spirit Breaker. I don't know that he wants to do this. All right, hits him once. And that's it. It'll just absorb some XP.
It's free damage.
Yeah. I thought the Invoker may pull him into the tower, but kind of lingered there in lane a little bit. Chen will be able to kill out this stack with the Tornado. This has been one value Wild Wing Ripper.
Yeah, I think he's had like 2 or 3 thus far, so Cast...
Oh, it hasn't been the same one? I just assumed he kept his little friend there, sending him back to the well. Abba, yeah, that's an easy kill for the Radiant side. 3-on-1.
Like your life.
Not much the Invoker could do. Arcane Boots, though, up on the Bounty Hunter. The big thing for Jap now is finding level 6, because that's when the track comes out and he can start just pumping his team full of gold. He's on the right path, though. 7 minutes in, almost level 4. Not too shabby for the Bounty Hunter doing this kind of a strategy.
Yeah, no, I think he's been doing fantastically thus far. 2-1-0,
Yep.
good scoreline. Has his Arcane Boots up, so he doesn't really need too much more gold from this point forward. We'd just like to grab some levels if he can, and he's soaking a little bit here on mid. The one big concern that I have for Rave is just how late this mech timing is going to be. You look at this lineup, and the obvious timing is going to be based around that mech and being able to go and take out some of these tier 1 towers and continue to advance the lead, but this mech at the rate that the Chen is going is not going to come up for a very long time, and I think even probably the mid tier 1 tower, once Rave start looking towards it, Sig.TR will already be looking to fight for that one. So it's difficult, but they look like they're going to find out the Bounty Hunter again.
And again, the Spirit Breaker ready and waiting to reveal it, and this time Lesh gets the kill, so they will take him out a second time. Good play there from Rave. Lesh happy with that one for sure. Jo now coming in onto the Earthshaker. Does have an ultimate available.
Yeah, but so does the Earthshaker, so it needs to be a little bit...
That's true, actually.
A little bit cautious.
Yeah.
It's interesting because there's double value for the Earthshaker in just sitting in the creep wave as much as he can. One, he's going to dodge the Omni Slash, bounces, and two, he's going to get a little bit of extra punch on his Echo.
Yeah,
so.
the Dire Creeps were just about to die there, though, so
yeah,
it could have gone either way. I see why the Joy backed off. Better safe than sorry, but...
I think he knows that the Earthshaker is maxing out this totem. He's kind of realized, so... I think 2 totem hits, the Echo and the Fissure, and he actually dies without getting the Omni Slash off. So has to respect that, and still needs to get farm.
Yeah, I think you're right. Things looking pretty good for Lekels. He's been very quiet in the safe lane up top, but he has quite a bit of farm. I believe he rushed a Vanguard, or it seemed like he was going to. Yeah, Brown Boots Vanguard. So we'll see when he wants to leave this lane and start moving. It is great when the Bristle can soak up all this kind of farm. Might be a good game to go for that kind of Sanj and Yasha style and let him be more of a carry, right clicker, chase people down. So it may still be a little while before we see him start moving about. But when you get the Vanguard this early, it can be really good for these initial skirmishes because you're just so much stronger relative to everyone else in terms of your ability to absorb damage.
Yeah, he's definitely somewhat combat ready at this point. If Rave were in a better position and already starting to look for towers, I think you'd definitely see him with the TP scroll and being ready to TP in if a tornado or a fissure lands to set things up. It's going to be pretty difficult to kite the Bristleback this game as well, just with the levels of farm that he's going to get. Should be able to pick up a pretty timely SNY like you were talking about. Mypro on the run here, but...
Oh, there's the Echo Slam, but Jo gets off the Omni, and Mypro in some trouble here. Ninja Boogie takes a lot of damage from the totems, but a charge from Ryo secures the kill, and here comes Bounty Hunter. Just a little poke there with the Shuriken toss. Rubik will fall, and the Bounty Hunter gets solo XP for that. Even though your Earthshaker dies, I think that's a good-ish trade. Gets Jab closer to level 6, and that is very valuable for Sig.TR.
Yeah, the track is the other thing that I was going to mention in terms of it's going to be tough to kite the Bristle this game when he's got that little bit of extra track move speed on top of everything. So, what else? The Invoker is doing all right. Another 1k gold on top of his phase boots. This does definitely seem like a decent game for Puzzle's Invoker. And as I said, that jumps in mid lane. Lightstriker not going to land on Chrissy. Misinvokes into the Ghost Walk, but auto attacks are going to be enough. They don't even need the snap.
Yeah, and now Ryo comes charging in. Whoa, stun on 3. Lina will connect with the LSA onto Ryo. Jo spinning as well. Signature.Trust still eager to fight here. Abba coming in with the Ghost Walk on, just trying to slow folks down. The all heal from Chen. He walks into some reveal, and it'll be a disaster for him. They end up getting the Rubik, but it's a 1-for-2 after the Lesh went down, making it a 2-for-2 overall. Rave with a huge reaction, rotating their entire team to make that fight a reality.
If he didn't misinvoke, I think that was a 3-for-1 because the Lesh is dead. They got the Rubik, and he probably has a second Cold Snap available for the Spirit Breaker after he charges in. Spirit Breaker is really tanky, so that might have been a somewhat difficult kill to grab, but Ghost Walking and running in for the slow was definitely not the play that he was looking for there. But
yeah,
it still works out all right. the Signature.Trust, and they are.
It would have been
once again
okay
on the move.
if there wasn't a sentry ward down.
Yeah.
But rolling the dice a little bit, like you mentioned.
Wait, was there even a sentry ward, or did he just get clipped on the edge of tower vision and then he got troll trapped? Because you can't. You're revealed while you're trapped.
I thought there was a
as well.
sentry on the ground, but maybe he was just stuck in the tower.
Yeah, I think,
Not really sure, to be honest.
I think that may have just been it.
I thought when he got trapped, he was a bit out of tower range, but now I'm second guessing myself, so who knows. Chrissy clearing out the creep wave mid with the Edict on. Will force out a glyph, and not going to finish off the tower this go round, but will make it an easy push later on. Mikkel's going in a little bit deep in the top lane, past the tier 1 tower. And yeah, big rotation, but that's the power of the Vanguard, as we talked about. He is absorbing so much damage here, but not going to be able to take it all. Telekinesis back. Ryo is level 6, sets things up with another strike, and they will punish this Bristleback for going in so deep. It does take quite a few heroes, but yeah, that's...
You're in between the tier 1 and the tier 2. You don't have a TP. I think it's a little bit more excusable if you have a TP scroll, because you see multiple TPs coming in, and maybe you just manage to run into the trees. And TP out. It is, of course, going to be difficult because the Spirit Breaker may have already been charging you from the other side of the map, but his life is... Even if he'd got the tier 1 there, I don't think his life is worth the tier 1 tower when he is the one in the 4 Protect 1 for Signature.Trust at the moment here. So that's a pretty big slip up from Mikkel's, but he has hopefully learned his lesson at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. So overall, things starting to feel pretty good for Rave. Seems like Chen is recovering from all that damage he took early on. At least got level 6 now. He has Hand of God, and Mech,
the Mech is almost
very close. Yeah, has the 2 pieces and just a couple hundred gold away from the recipe. So Cast has gotten through the hard part, and he did it without dying. 1, 0, and 2. He still managed to find a pretty good impact. You mentioned the way he's utilized those Wild Wing Rippers to harass the mid lane, and it was also a key facet in setting up that kill on the Bounty Hunter. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, MyPro takes an Omni slash Jo, trying to do as much damage as he can, being cautious here of the totems, but Ryo has a charge, and MyPro ends up in the grave once more. Nicely set up there by Rave.
And Rubik with the stolen Ghost Walk comes hunting forward, but he's right on top of a Dire Sentry Ward, so it looks like nothing should come of this. Abba could actually try and turn things around on him somewhat. And Sig just looking for the tier 1 tower top lane in the meantime. Still no level 6 just yet on this Bounty Hunter. I feel like Jap had such a good start, but the level progression has slowed down somewhat, and Mikkel's pretty similar situation. Bunch of heroes coming in looking for him here on the top lane. This was scouted by the Bounty Hunter, and that little bit of extra information coming in is going to be enough for Mikkel's to back up and play nice and safe.
Ninja Boogie has a dust here. Stolen Ghost Walk. Not going to burn it quite yet. They're looking to defend this tower, though, and Rubik with Ghost Walk is actually kind of scary. That's a good little steal for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Gives him a way to initiate and sneak up with the telekinesis there.
Yeah, and even just being able to move in to be ready to lift immediately after the Spirit Breaker charges in and drops his combo. There aren't that many extremely elusive heroes on Sig.TR, but for example, if the Earthshaker tanks up a little bit more, you do want to make sure that you don't let him get any of his spells off when you're hunting for that kill. So, what are Rave looking to do right now? I think they've got their mech flying out right this second. That's probably the big play right now.
Oh, nice setup. Telekinesis right into the split earth. A lot of damage to bring down the Invoker. They had the Sentry Ward down. Lina will fall as well. 2-0. Lesh still pressing forward on the backside. Jap in maybe just a little too far forward. There is a Sentry Ward on the ground, not giving him an easy escape. He finished off the Chen, but it came at a cost. That'll be his own life. 1 for 3 as Rave take a team fight, and Jo pushes a tower in the bottom lane, finding victories all over the map as him and Mikkel's go blow for blow. He'll just TP home. That'll be the end of it. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Rave should be able to claim another tower off this. Wow.
Yeah, Mikkel's going bot. It's 100% certain that Rave can just go in and take out mid. So they've denied the only tower that they've lost so far, and they've picked up 2 towers in very quick succession.
Yep.
Things starting to snowball pretty heavily, and the Bristleback, I mean, just sitting right up there with the 2 Rave cores, but given the setup for the Signature.Trust lineup this game, you want to see Mikkel's at the #1 spot the entire game long. So they did set up a little Ancient stack for him, so that's going to help secure his #1 position, but Yeah, they definitely need a little bit more from him. The Earthshaker's build is a little bit weird. He's been getting a few more points into his passive, the Aftershock, and only had the 1 point in the Fissure for that fight on mid lane. I think it actually ended up costing them 1 kill, because if he'd had more points in that, it would have instantly killed the Rubik, and then Bounty Hunter would have been able to use his Shuriken Toss to kill the other low HP hero that was retreating out. So I find this a little bit weird.
It is a bit peculiar. The build that he's gone for is more of kind of what Ryo did in that second game of the first heat, where you go for the phase boots and you can actually do some big right-click damage. But here he's gone brown boots and now pooling towards the Blink Dagger, almost undoubtedly. Picked up the Belt of Strength for just some extra damage with the Totem, but build does feel a little all over the place and somewhat non-committal. Jo maybe in some trouble here as Lakel's tries to chase him down. Jukes into the tree line. Oh my, was that a close call. Tornado on the way, but he makes it out. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Jap gets dusted, telekinesed, and that's an easy kill there on the bounty. Again, Rave getting an escape in the top lane and a kill at the bottom. I feel like Lakel's just can't get into the right place at the right time. They're playing around his movements so effectively.
That just keeps on chasing Jo, but Jo just keeps TPing out and continues farming, so getting a lot done there. The Invoker, I feel, has not really accomplished all that much just yet. I mean, he hasn't really been able to move around Ghostwalk to go and find any kills. They haven't used the EMP Tornado really at all to hang on to towers, and I feel like that's a big reason that they look towards the hero and picked it, because they're thinking, okay, we've got Earthshaker, we've got Invoker, we should be able to spam, we should be able to defend our tier 1 towers, and that's where the Bristleback gets huge, but that has definitely not come to fruition thus far, and Rave are starting to get really scary. The Lash has his Bloodstone completed, so his farm is going to start to skyrocket from this point forward. And also the Juggernaut, pretty much core farming items done. Mask of Madness, Yasha, and the Quelling Blade. And with the tier 1 tower down top, he's got access to the Dire Jungle to take even more farm there.
Yep. Looks like a fight might break out in the mid on the upper portion here. Welsh trying to initiate on someone. Lakel's gets stunned up. It's Spear Breaker that ends up going down to the Lina. Omni Slash brings down the Invoker. And now it's Ninja Boogie on the run. They'll turn it around onto Lakel's, though. Nice split earth from the Lesh. A 1-for-2 trade overall. Rave finding the advantage. Double kill out onto Jo, who is getting quite scary. Very standard item build so far. We're used to seeing the Phase Boots, Mask of Madness, Yasha, and it's working again here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's been really anything shocking from the way that Rave have played this game thus far, but it's just been really solid. The Bounty Hunter gave them some problems in the early game, but once they picked up some farm, they invested a lot of gold into making sure that they had anti-invis covering most of their jungle, a lot of the entrances, and they managed to find a couple of pickoffs on him, which I think has been enough to sort of keep the Bounty Hunter afraid. And they got the mech online, which is really the heart of the split pushing engine. Between that and the healing ward, Rave have a crazy amount of sustain, and Signature.Trust, I'm a little bit worried for them. They do have the level 6 up on the Lina, they do have the Laguna Blade, so there's hopefully at least one free kill there with the Lina moving around with the Invoker or the Bounty Hunter to try and catch somebody, but at the moment it's only the Juggernaut who's off kind of doing his own thing, and until the Orchid is up on the Invoker, they're not really going to be able to punish him, though Alba is close, just needs the recipe right now.
Yeah, less than ideal timing here for the Orchid. Should have it maybe minute 23-ish, something like that. If they get this tower kill here and he gets the last hit, that'll give him a little bump. But Jo split pushing in the top lane, gets his Manta delivered. They end up with a tier 2 in the bottom. He's done a lot of damage here already. Signature.Trust starting to rotate to try and mount the defense. Looks like he'll get here just in the nick of time to repel Jo from getting a free tower kill. Blink Dagger is up on MyPro, looking for maybe an Echo Slam setup, but Jo will back out in the nick of time.
And Rubik's just wandering around with the stolen Cold Snap. Lakel's can pick up his S and Y soon. Is BKB valuable for him this game? It is to an extent, but primarily against the Lesh and the Rubik. It's more about the control than I think it really is about the damage. So I guess we might not be seeing it from him this game. Relatively early backer could also be all right for the Bristleback if he feels like he's been having a lot of problems against the Juggernaut. so far and TPing out and whatnot.
He completes the SNY, and when you do this kind of safe lane bristle without a real secondary carry that packs as much of a punch, I think you're almost obligated to go something more aggressive like that Basher. Get a little bit of control later on when you can upgrade it. You know, what are the other options outside of Basher that you would consider here? Outside of BKB?
So he can go into an early AC. He can do the Lifestealer-esque Hyperstone into Basher, which is very, very aggressive. In terms of other options,
it's a fairly good spread. I mean,
Silver Edge isn't that impressive, honestly. Like stuff like Abyssal Blade and AC are definitely what you're working towards later.
Rave tried to smoke into the Roche bit, but Sig.TR, they smoked their way down as well. Rubik gets dropped straight away from the Laguna Blade, but also lose their Earthshaker after an Omni Slash to the face. Lakel's in very deep. There's the Tornado, but Signature.Trust are just falling apart. Lena's gone down now. Lakel's can't take the heat, so they'll kick him out of the kitchen. Abba will Ghost Walk away. And on the other side of it, Bounty Hunter will try to run, but Ryo's there, bashes him with the Lantern. A 1-for-4 trade as Rave once again come out big and will command and conquer the Roshan pit.
Earthshaker got greedy there. He blinked in looking for that perfect echo in the middle of everyone, but Rubik instantly lifts him, and even though that's all Rubik manages to do in that fight, it was more than enough. Trading his 2.7k worth of farm away for making sure that the Earthshaker's 5k doesn't end up doing anything. So really nicely played there by Ninja Boogie.
Yeah. And on top of that, he died because he tanked the Laguna Blade. It wasn't that he died to right-click. So that's another big cooldown utilized that, you know, could have maybe finished off someone like the Jug or bursted down the Lesh. Rubik, probably the ideal target from the Rave perspective to eat a Laguna in that kind of a situation.
Yeah, definitely. And just opened up the fight for everybody else to do whatever they wanted. Jailed?
Oh, man damage. Okay, he'll be able to make it out. He does get tracked on the way, but we'll be on the run. Rubik can just get back to the tower, and he'll be okay.
Yep. Rubik's still on track at the moment, actually. He's got that for the full duration.
That's quite nice.
That's scary.
Yep. Lesh is also up to like 13 Bloodstone charges, so Chrissy is definitely balling here. Both him.
Oh my god, and he has a second soul booster.
Oh man, just going straight for the Octarine core. I like this. When you're ahead like this, grabbing an Octarine core at this point is game-breaking. They're already having trouble killing him. If you get into a team fight and you've got Pulse Nova on a couple heroes, the vampiric steel that you get from it is just massive.
I think the Bristleback's even going to start to struggle to man-fight him at this stage. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, BKB's only good against Lesh, but you might need BKB just for Lesh at this stage.
Yeah.
If you're Lakel's, but I mean, Lakel's feels like, it seems like the way that he's been playing, he feels like, okay, look, I've got these items, I can't really afford to wait around too much longer. My team needs me, but his participation hasn't really been swinging these fights at all. The Invoker is still having, I feel, a fairly minimal impact. Abba's going to try and turn that around with his Orchid picked up now, but the Rave already in pretty much full 5-man mode.
That was right into the Roche pit. Tornado breaks things up a little bit. Lakel goes charging in. But Rave still seem to be in pretty good shape here. Signature.Trust coming from a weird angle as they're kind of split apart. Abba just gets blown up all by himself. Now it's Lakel's who pops forward, now has to retreat. Echo Slam connects on a few, brings cast low, but it's not quite enough. Laguna will finish him off, but MyPro takes a full Omni Slash to the face, and that will bring him down. Now Jab gets charged, he'll get picked apart, and Lakel's telekinesis, he'll go down as well. It feels like Myth.Trust just running in one at a time. Not what they want to do. It's Signature.Trust. That's my mistake. Somehow Lakel's will live on just a handful of HP. I don't know how he lived through that. A 2-for-4 overall. Really should have been a 2-for-5. Such an odd angle to initiate, though. The Invoker got off a Tornado and then just died all by himself in that little choke point.
Yeah, it's difficult because Rave are prepared for both Bounty Hunter coming in from a weird angle and the Invoker trying to do something odd here. I think if, you know, it's so tough. The Invoker's Orchid didn't even outrace the Manta style on the Juggernaut, so he doesn't even have that much pressure on the Jug anymore because Jug can be off solo split pushing so long as he doesn't pop the Manta style. The Orchid and the Cold Snap happen, but he immediately Mantas, he spins, and then he TPs out, and there's nothing that Signature.Trust can do to stop him. And it's even just showing up in Jug's net worth. There is no real threat to him on the map right now, and so he gets to go wherever he wants, farm any camp that he wants, and just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Lakel's has picked up an Ogre Club here, so looks like he is going to end up going towards that BKB, but they're at such a hefty deficit right now, as we just saw on the graphs. Abba doing his best to get some immediate value out of this Orchid. This is a tanky Leshrac, though.
I mean, he's ate most of the Orchid. All heal from Chen.
Not quite.
And does get the suicide off, though, so not all bad for Chrissy.
He's already back.
Yep. Really just showing off there, even though he died, how tanky he is. I mean, that took a lot of effort from Signature.Trust, and that's a situation where the Lesh is completely isolated. Once this next team fight comes out, things will be a little different. Chrissy also very close to that Octarine Orb, Octarine Core, rather. Just about 200 gold, and he'll be there.
And Sig just kind of staring at them on mid lane at the moment. They're grouped up, so they're continuing to somewhat get out farmed, though they are going to go and try and make some use out of their jungle right now. Rubik is up there all the way, all by himself. I don't know if he's on a bit of a warding mission right now. Does put down the one observer there and spots a couple of heroes over looking for him. Tornado is going to actually end up catching him as he tries to TP out. Gets stolen, but looks like Ninja Boogie won't even get a chance to use it.
Yeah, would have died to the soul burn there anyhow. There's your Octarine Lesh ready to fight, and also the Jug on his way up top. Spirit Breaker charging from across the map onto BB. Jo starts things off with Blade Fury. There comes the Space Count, pops the BKB. LSA will be off the mark, channels another strike. That's the end of the Lina. Now the Omni Slash bouncing around, gets the kill on the Invoker. Raquel's down to about half health. Fissure will block out Jo. He may well go down, but remember, he's got the Aegis. He's coming on back, buyback from the Jug, or pardon me, from the Invoker as well. Echo Slam. It's just not doing enough. Yeah. Chrissy is tracked up, Orchided for now. But about to expire, Rave can just sort of reset this and be happy with forcing a buyback and taking a successful fight.
Definitely. Bounty to try to throw out a few more tracks as they retreat here. Oh, it gets the bounce off of the creep onto the track targets as well. So some cute little plays, but Rave just put down the healing ward and go back to work.
It's going to take more than that to get Signature.Trust back in this game. They are behind by such a big deficit here. The Bristleback, the only one with a decent level of farm. And here we go. Fight will break out. EMP Tornado onto Jo, but we'll be able to Blade Fury out. Ryo comes charging in to make a little space for his team. Mech gets used, and they will back off. But Rave can always turn and try and reinitiate this. Chrissy will turn on the Pulse Nova. Lakel's taking big damage. MyPro comes in. Fissure on 2. They want Ninja Boogie. He's the weakest one. And they can't even bring him down. All heal from Chen gets popped. Keeps him alive just long enough. Forces Lakel's to dive the tower. Pretty spread out fight here, but Lakel's reasonably low on HP. Jo will just win the man fight straight up. Spirit Breaker brings down the Lina. Oh, this is looking bad for the dire side here. Base Give, Abba on the run. Gets the Orchid off onto Chrissy. The cold snap to boot. They can't close the gap. 2 for 3. Not as bad for Signature.Trust as it could have been.
Yeah, they can't stop this Lesh, though. He is actually just ridiculous.
He's just taking over this game. He's back up to 15 Bloodstone charges, and Chrissy's positioning himself very well in these fights also. It's 2 for 3, and Signature.Trust still gets the net worth gain. Just shows how far behind they are.
Oh yeah, they are. They are very far behind at the moment. Spirit Breaker's already got his Shadow Blade, and looks like some progress towards his Silver Edge here. Chrissy's just farming anywhere that he wants. I feel like the Invoker missed a little bit of an opportunity there at the tier 2 mid. Jo did pop his Manta Style to just damage the tower, and so I think he would have been somewhat vulnerable to an Orchid Cold Snap into a Fissure as the combo, but instead Invoker just opted to Tornado EMP, and that did give the opportunity for the Jug to react, falling out of the Tornado and getting off the spin. So I feel like they might have been able to kill him there, but there's still the threat of a send back and lots of other interactions from Rave jumping in to save him. So it's not guaranteed, but I feel like that was a small misplay from the Invoker. And Rave just continuing to farm up. They've got good wards on the map. Jo looks like he's probably just going to be picking up Biscotti before too long.
Yeah.
And for Lakel's, he's almost got his BKB completed, so that's good news for him. That's going to be flying out of the courier right this second, though it remains to be seen if that is going to be enough of a difference maker.
Charge coming in onto Lakel's.
Shadow Bladed, I believe, on the Spirit Breaker. Yep.
Oh, BKB now comes out for Lakel, so it looks like he does feel, same as you were saying, that they need something to deal with this Lesh as Chen picks up an Aghanim Scepter. Take a look at some Ancients here. Looks like there are no Granite Golems on the field right now, but Still gets that extra sustainability for the team, can spam out that Hand of God. Now charge down bottom onto the Invoker, bumps right into Jap, and Bounty Hunter will suffer an unfortunate fate.
I'll just get a TP out of the tree line. Chrissy doing some pretty big damage there. He's got his Blink Dagger picked up. He's back up to 16 Bloodstone charges, so he was looking really good there. And Rave in complete control of the map, in complete control of the game. This is the second sort of somewhat unimpressive Quaswix Invoker game that I've seen in the last 2 days. The other one that comes to mind was the in the grand finals of China, actually, that final game between eHome and CDEC. And I just don't know if Invoker necessarily has a home at the moment in this current meta. He seems decently positioned. It's teamfight oriented. He doesn't have extremely long cooldowns, but just going off that game and this one, hasn't really been able to find the pickoffs that I feel are required for this Orchid first sort of Clinks-esque style of play.
Yeah, so... Well, there's an interesting pickup. Yule's Scepter on the Earthshaker. Blink Yules.
So it can dispel Sendback. It can set up for kills on the Rubik potentially. You blink in, you totem, you Fisher, you Yules him, you totem in on the way down again, and then you just smack him one more time with the totem.
Okay.
So I think it's
I like that.
I think it's decent for that.
Yeah, I would say it stops the Spirit Breaker, but he has BKB and Shadow Blade.
It's also the best answer that he can get this game against the Omnislash, because if he buys a Ghost Scepter, he's just going to die to Lesh. So
that is,
I think that's the that's the primary motivation there.
Exactly. Here we go, Lekels. He gets charged. Nether Strike into a Splurth as well. Extra 10-second BKB on Lekels. Chrissy will have to turn tail and try to run out of here. The rest of Rave nearby. EMP Tornado only catches Jo. He will lose much of his mana, but still has enough for the Omnislash if he wants to use it. They go back in onto MyPro, and Yules will buy him a little bit of time. Gets off an Echo Slam, but not much is done. Just an Earthshaker in the grave. 5v4 on the field. Tracks coming out, but a charge across. Ryo giving some much-needed vision to his team. Deafening Blast will push it back, but Chrissy just walking up to the high ground. He can afford to dive this thanks to all that lifesteal he has from that Octarine core, and now things looking very rough for Signature.Trust. Buyback comes out from the Bounty Hunter.
There's still a tier 2 up, but this is now Chrissy's base.
They're just diving past the tier 3 without much of a care in the world.
Yeah, and I think they even got a track kill out there. Rubik actually has it stolen at the moment. Level 2 track. Very nice grab for him. Lekels gonna try and stand and fight here, but I don't think he's gonna last very long.
I don't think so either. Even with his back turn, there's another strike to the front side, and it's a 5-man wipe. Everyone on Signature.Trust in the grave. All heal from Chen. He's got a big old Nether Drake there, laying into the tower. BOT's picked up on the Lesh. Things are just falling apart for this dire side, and dare I say, we should be close to GG territory at this point.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I don't know how Signature.Trust win a fight here. Maybe with a perfect Echo Slam, but Rave are never going to give them that opportunity. So, and yeah, Ryo's just diving base at this stage.
Yeah, MyPro just obliterated by Chrissy and Ryo, and there it is. GG is called, and not a moment too soon. Rave looking very strong in that second game, and you know, you talked about it earlier, and it didn't feel like they did anything too crazy there. Items very straightforward. The draft fairly standard, or at least in the context of what we've seen so far in this qualifier, and just really good movements around the map and great execution. The thing that stands out to me is how well they played around Lekels. Every time you saw Lekels commit to a lane, if they knew he TP'd somewhere, they'd just commit 3 or 4 heroes to another lane, and without the bristleback, it just seemed like Signature.Trust couldn't really take a fight in that early mid-game.